Ukraine captures 2 North Korean soldiers in Russia's Kursk region. Black box in Jeju Air jet stopped recording 4 minutes before crashing. Good afternoon and Salam Malaysia Madani. I am Daniel Bahardin and this is World Today. President Volodymyr Zelensky said on Saturday that Ukraine has captured 2 North Korean soldiers in Russia's Kursk region, the first time Ukraine has announced the capture of North Korean soldiers alive since their entry into the war last autumn. North Korean regular troops entered the war on Russia's side in October, according to Kyiv and its Western allies, who initially estimated their numbers at 10,000 or more. A video posted by the Security Service of Ukraine, SBU, appeared to show the 2 captured men. A doctor interviewed for the SBU's video, who was not named, said one of the soldiers had a facial wound and would be treated by a dentist, while the other soldier had an open wound and a lower leg fracture. The SBU said the North Koreans had been transferred to Kyiv for questioning. As they could not speak Ukrainian, Russian or English, their questioning was being done in Korean with the help of South Korea's NIS intelligence agency. The soldiers had been born in 2005 and 1999 and had been serving in the North Korean Armed Forces since 2021 and 2016 respectively. The SBU said the 2 prisoners were being held in conditions that were in accordance with international law and that a criminal investigation was being conducted to see if the men broke Ukraine's law against planning or conducting a war. The flight data and cockpit voice recorders on the Jeju Air jet that crashed on 29 December stopped recording about 4 minutes before the airliner hit a concrete structure at South Korea's Muan airport. The South Korean Transport Ministry said in a statement that authorities investigating the disaster that killed 179 people, the worst on South Korean soil, plan to analyze what caused the black boxes to stop recording. The voice recorder was initially analyzed in South Korea and when data was found to be missing, was then sent to a United States National Transportation Safety Board laboratory. Jeju Air 7C2216, which departed the Thai capital Bangkok from 1 in southwestern South Korea, barely landed and overshot the regional airport's runway, exploding into flames after hitting an embankment. The pilots told air traffic control the aircraft had suffered a bird strike and declared emergency about 4 minutes before it crashed into the embankment, exploding in flames. 2 injured crew members sitting in the tail section were rescued. United States Special Counsel Jack Smith, who led the federal cases against Donald Trump on charges of trying to overturn his 2020 election defeat and mishandling of classified documents, has resigned as the Republican president-elect prepared to return to the White House. A former war crimes prosecutor, Smith brought 2 of the 4 criminal cases Trump faced after leaving office. After Trump defeated Democratic Vice President Kamala Harris in the election, Smith dropped both cases, citing a long-standing Justice Department rule against prosecuting sitting presidents. Smith's departure is another marker of the collapse of the criminal cases against Trump, which could end without any legal consequences for the incoming president and spark a backlash that helped fuel his political comeback. Smith's resignation from the Justice Department was expected. Trump, who was frequently called Smith deranged, had said he would fire him immediately upon taking office on 20th January and has suggested that he may pursue retribution against Smith and others who investigated him once he returns to office. South Korea's Constitutional Court is set to hold first oral arguments on Tuesday in the trial of President Yoon Suk-yeol's impeachment over his 3rd December martial law declaration. After being impeached on 14th December last year, Yoon's presidential powers were suspended, but he remains in office, retaining his immunity from most charges except insurrection or treason. The Constitutional Court must decide within 180 days whether to remove him from office or reject the impeachment and restore his powers. If it removes Yoon or he resigns, a presidential election must be held within 60 days. One of the lawyers representing Yoon has told reporters that the suspended leader plans to appear in court in person for the impeachment trial. Yoon is also under criminal investigation for insurrection over his failed attempt to impose martial law, a decision that stunned South Korea and prompted the first arrest warrant for a sitting president. If formally arrested and convicted, Yoon faces prison or, at worst, the death penalty. South African President Cyril Ramaphosa called on the African National Congress ANC to renew itself or its extinction during the party's 113th anniversary celebration on Saturday in Cape Town.
And this is a moment wherein the ANC should either renew itself or perish. And this is an important lesson that we have learned from the past elections. Unless we renew ourselves, unless we ensure that the ANC is renewed, we face the danger, yes, of perishing as a movement. The election outcome has taught us an important lesson.
Ramaphosa acknowledged the party's current struggles, including unemployment, poverty, inequality and loss of majority in recent elections. He outlined a plan for action focused on improving the economy, enhancing government services and rebuilding the ANC. As the ANC now leads a national unity government along with 9 other political parties, Ramaphosa emphasized the party's commitment to regaining public confidence and returning as a majority party in the next elections. His call for renewal comes as the Freedom Charter, the ANC's policy blueprint, celebrates its 70th anniversary. Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim has firmly stated that the government has not concealed any addendum. He said there was a pressing need for him to provide an explanation regarding the various accusations thrown regarding the matter.
Itu yang disebut addendum, surat yang disampaikan. Surat itu dihantar kepada Peguam Negara, bukan kepada saya, bukan kepada ahli lembaga pengampunan dan Peguam Negara. Kemudian bila Agung berganti, silip diserah kepada Istana Negara kerana Agung yang pengurusikan. Itu keadaan dia. Bukan kita suruh apa-apa keputusan mutlak oleh Jabatan Agung, tapi dalam mesyuarat lembaga pengampunan, tidak di luar. Jadi dalam mesyuarat masa saya ada, benda ini tak dibangkitkan. Masa Dr. Zileha ada, benda ini tak dibangkitkan. Itulah keadaan dia. Bukan kita suruh.
Japanese Prime Minister Shigeru Ishiba met with Indonesian President Prabowo Subianto on Saturday at the Presidential Palace in Bogor on the last leg of his 4-day tour of Southeast Asia, his first visit to the region since taking power in October. During a joint statement, Prime Minister Ishiba stated that increasing collaboration with the ASEAN region is one of the highest priority in Japan's diplomacy, especially with Indonesia. Japan wants to send a message that it is the best partner for Southeast Asian countries. Ishiba cited Japan's respect for a rules-based international order in contrast to China's more aggressive behavior in claiming islands in the disputed South China Sea, which Beijing claims virtually in its entirety. Ishiba added in the joint statement that regarding bilateral relations, Japan agreed to launch consultations between defense officials on maritime security, including defense equipment and technical cooperation in the security field. Subianto also said in the joint statement that the visit strengthened the strategic partnership as well as the commitment to continue to seek more intensive areas of cooperation. British Finance Minister Rachel Reeves on Saturday said agreements reached with China this weekend are worth £600 million, equivalent to about $732 million over the next 5 years for the British economy. The agreements include commitments to deepen financial services trade and expand agri-food exports. Speaking at a news conference in Beijing with Chinese Vice Premier He Lifeng, Reeves said the re-engagement with China already sets the United Kingdom on course to deliver up to £1 billion of value for the UK economy. The British Finance Minister is facing criticism for conducting a 2-day visit to China during financial market turmoil at home. He said China and the UK will strengthen cooperation in many fields, including banking, insurance and asset management. China is Britain's 4th largest trading partner, accounting for goods and services trade worth almost £113 billion, equivalent to about $138 billion. High-level economic and financial talks between the UK and China had been frozen for nearly 6 years. Syria's new ruler and Lebanon's Prime Minister pledged on Saturday to build lasting ties during the first visit by a Lebanese head of government to Damascus since the civil war started in 2011. Prime Minister Najib Mikati's trip came after opposition forces seized Damascus last month, bringing an end to the rule of Bashar al-Assad. Previous Lebanese governments refrained from visits to Syria amid tensions at home over militant group Hezbollah's support for Assad during the conflict. Syria's new leader Ahmad al-Shara said he hoped to turn over a new leaf in relations days after crisis hit Lebanon finally elected a president this week following 2 years of deadlock. Shara said there will be long-term strategic relations between Syria and Lebanon as the two countries have great shared interests. Shara added that the new Syria would stay at equal distance from all in Lebanon and try to solve problems through negotiations and dialogue. Mikati said ties should be based on mutual respect, equality and national sovereignty. The Venezuelan army on Saturday condemned new sanctions that the United States, Britain and the European Union imposed the previous day when the country swore in President Nicolas Maduro for a third term after a 6-month election dispute. The condemnation came after outgoing US President Joe Biden's administration increased its reward to $25 million for information leading to the arrest or conviction of Maduro on drug trafficking charges. The previous reward was $15 million. Maduro, president since 2013, was declared the winner of July's election by both Venezuela's electoral authority and top court, though detailed tallies confirming his victory have never been published. Venezuela's opposition says ballot box level tallies showed a landslide win for its former candidate Edmundo Gonzalez. Maduro's nearly 12 years in office have been marked by deep economic and social crisis and an exodus of millions of Venezuelans fleeing the country. His government has always rejected all sanctions, saying they are legitimate measures that amount to an economic war designed to cripple Venezuela. In sports, Auger Aliassime and Keys claim Adelaide International title. Stay tuned. Kicking off our sports segment this afternoon, league leaders Al Hilal trash Al Orobia 5-0 at the Al Juf University Stadium on Saturday to top the Saudi Pro League on goal difference. Al Hilal's starting 11 was impacted by injuries to captain Salim Al Dawsari and top scorer Alexander Mitrovic, but it made little difference as the reigning champions cruised to victory. Al Hilal made a fast start and their early attacks were rewarded with a penalty when winger Muhammad Al Qahtani was brought down inside the box. Ruben Neves stepped up to convert the penalty and give his side the lead. Ali Al Bulaihi steered his header from Savic's cross into the goal to double the lead 2 minutes after the restart. Former Atletico Madrid defender Renan Lodi joined in on the action, slamming home fellow Brazilian Malcolm's cross to make it 3-0. Marcos Leonardo was selected to replace Mitrovic, and he repaid his manager with 2 goals on the night. The first came in the 75th minute after he had hit the bar, and teammate Motab Al-Harbi had his shot safe, but goalkeeper Gaten Cook could only parry it back to Leonardo to score. The fifth and final goal came when Lodi cut the ball back to Leonardo, who struck home his second. Adnan Hamad is the new head coach of Al Oroba, and he will have plenty to think about after watching that match from the stands, knowing they are currently just 1 point above the relegation zone. In European football, Napoli forward Kavica Kvaratskhelia wants to leave the Serie A club immediately. Kvaratskelia's current deal runs until 2027, the 23-year-old having joined Napoli in July 2022 and helped his side secure their first Scudetto in 33 years that season. The Georgia international has been ruled out of Napoli's Serie A home clash against Hellas Verona on Sunday. Kvaratskhelia has been linked with Liverpool and Paris Saint-Germain in the January transfer window. He and Victor Osman, who moved to Galatasaray on loan last year, scored a combined 38 league goals in Napoli's title-winning season. Kvaratskhelia was also named Player of the Season by Serie A in 2023. Napoli leads Serie A with 44 points from 19 games, with Kvaratskhelia having scored 5 goals and contributed 3 assists in 17 league matches this season. In tennis, Canada's Felix Auger-Aliassime closed out a 3-set match against American Sebastian Corda to win the Adelaide International on Saturday. The fifth seed took 1 hour 49 minutes to beat against Corda 6-3, 3-6, 6-1, who was competing in his first tournament since last October. It wasn't all plain sailing for the Canadian as he had to save 4 break points in the early part of the first set before taking a lead in a match that featured some strength-sapping rallies. Corda claimed the second set, but that just spurred on Auger-Aliassime, who broke the American on his first service game in the third set. It is Auger-Aliassame's 6th career ATP Tour title, and he is now on a 5-match winning streak, heading into his first round match with Jan-Lennard Struff in the Australian Open on Monday. Meanwhile, Madison Keys fought through a leg injury to beat Jessica Pegula 6-3, 4-6, 6-1 in an All-American Adelaide International final on Saturday, continuing her good form heading into the Australian Open. Keys, who also won the Adelaide title in 2022 and made the quarter-finals in Auckland last week, sent down 10 aces and fired off 26 winners as she took 1 hour and 43 minutes to beat world number 7 Pegula. The title was 9th of Keys' career and set her up perfectly for a first-round meeting with American Ann Lee at Melbourne Park on Tuesday. The 29-year-old, seeded 19th at this year's first Grand Slam, took 30 minutes minutes to seal the opening set but needed an off-court medical timeout after losing the first 3 games of the second, returning with her left leg strap up. Pegula went on to take the set and force a decider, but Keys responded well in the third, winning the last 5 games in a row. Pegula faces Australian Maya Joint in the first round at Melbourne Park. In motorsport, Belgian Guillaume de Merviers claims stage 6 behind the wheel of a Mini as the Dakar Rally resumed on Saturday after a rest day. It was a good day for the Mini team, with de Merviers followed home by his Portuguese teammate João Ferreira, with 5-time champion Nasser Al-Attiyah in third. South African Hang Latagan crossed in 7th to maintain his position at the top of the standings by just over 7 minutes from local Saudi driver Yazid Al-Rajhi. Al-Attiyah is placed 4th over half an hour adrift. Meanwhile, Galan Shishiri forced to retire from the Dakar Rally following stage 6 crash. Frenchman Shishiri and his navigator Alex Winnock roll and total their X-Raid Mini. In the motorbike category, defending champion Ricky Brabeck took the honours as the Honda rider, coming in ahead of Adrian Van Beveren and Jose Ignacio Cornejo after the 605km special from Hale to Al-Duwadimi. Overall, bike leader Daniel Sanders kept his powder dry on Saturday, crossing the line in 9th as he aims to put his foot down on Sunday's 7th stage. Sanders leads the standings by almost a dozen minutes from Spain's Tosha Schreiner, with Brabeck 4th over 23 minutes adrift. One of the favourites for the bike title, Rose Branch from Botswana, suffered a heavy fall early in the day and was forced to withdraw. Colourful stories await in our Offbeat segment. Mixi Incorporated recently introduced its latest Romi Lakatan model, an emotional support robot designed to combat isolation, anxiety and depression. Mixi representative Scott Pegg said unlike traditional conversational artificial intelligence, Romi's in-house developed technology ensures it provides genuine empathy and natural conversation. Romi's interaction aim to reduce feelings of loneliness, especially for those who might spend long periods without social contact. It greets users in the morning, welcomes them home after work, and engages in casual conversations such as asking about the day's events. Pegg said the robot has been particularly effective in nursing homes across Japan, where it has helped socially isolated seniors feel more connected. Currently available only in Japan, Romi retails for around $570 and will be sold in a new model, Romi Lakatan, starting this spring. While there are no confirmed plans for international expansion, Mixi Inc. is conducting market research to adapt Romi for different languages and cultures. Archaeologists have uncovered intact portions of the foundation wall of pharaonic Queen Hatshepsut's Valley Temple in Luxor and the nearby tomb of Queen Teti-Sheri, grandmother of Ahmose I, the first pharaoh of Egypt's Golden New Kingdom era. The discovery of more than 1,000 decorated stone blocks on the outskirts of Hatshepsut's funerary temple was announced by team leader Zahi Hawass, an Egyptian archaeologist and former Minister of Antiquities who has been leading excavations at the site since 2022. The 18th dynasty Queen Hatshepsut, who died in about 1458 BC, was one of a small handful of women to have ruled Egypt. Her valley temple was intentionally demolished centuries later. A limestone tablet found at the site bore the name of Hatshepsut's architect Senmut, who oversaw construction of the temple. Queen Tati Sherry, whose tomb was found nearby, was grandmother of Ahmose I, who liberated Egypt from the Hyksos people who invaded Egypt from across Sinai to the east. The simple tomb was carved in rock and lay at the end of a mud brick vaulted chapel with red wall drawings painted on a layer of white mortar. Italian couture house Dolce & Gabbana has opened a new exhibition featuring 200 original creations in Paris in the capital's iconic Grand Palais Exhibition Hall. The event, dubbed From the Heart to the Hand, explores the creative process of designers Domenico Dolce and Stefano Gabbana in an open letter to Italian culture. Mixing past and current collections, curators chose pieces reminiscent of Italian paintings, antique mosaics, and aristocratic garments. Each room embodies a specific historical period, geographical area, and cultural feature of Italy that infused the work of Dolce & Gabbana.
This moment is very significant for Dolce & Gabbana because it's the first time they are presenting in Paris, ever. They have never shown their collection in Paris. They have always presented their collection in Italy, in Milan, or in the different places where the collection was inspired, like Firenze, like Venezia, like Palermo.
The famous duo started their couture adventure after successfully launching a pret-a-porter or ready-to-wear brand in 1985. The Paris exhibition will last until 31st March. And that wraps up our bulletin this afternoon. In our top story, Ukraine captures 2 North Korean soldiers alive in Russia. Do join us again this evening at 8:30 p.m. on TV1 and saluran Berita RTM. Or you can stream us online, RTM Click's website and mobile app. Till then, from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free. I am Daniel Bardin. Have a pleasant day ahead.